Okay, folks. So, wanted to come on here and talk about my experience as a tech entrepreneur. Now, how I do my videos, I don't script them at all. I don't, write anything down like that. I just really talk about my experience. And I have over 10 and a half years of experience in entrepreneurship and had some good days and some really bad days, more bad than good. And, if you want to get into entrepreneurship and especially in tech, I'd like to give you some precautions and some things that could actually help you get ahead. Okay. So, I'll go into just a few things you need to do to get started. And then I'll drop some more videos that talk about what you do when you get started and what you do when you are growing companies, and maybe you want to sell your company, or maybe you want to expand or purchase other companies. I've been through the ringer, so to speak, when it comes to starting my own businesses, side hustles, and everything of that nature, right? Very determined, very entrepreneurial minded. I come from a entrepreneurial family, an entrepreneurial extended family. So I do want to go into first talking about how you start a tech business responsibly, how you start it efficiently, and what are some of the things to think about when it comes to, executing your vision. So, for those who do not know me, this is my YouTube channel. But if you don't know me, my name is Deontay Caesar. I've been an entrepreneur for a while. I also dabble in contract work, full-time work as well. Just because things can be very unexpected when you are in business, right? So I've started one tech company, and then 3 other companies where I would say a beauty supply delivery service, which is sort of like a technology company, you could say that. I've attempted to make an app with one of my brothers, and that didn't go so well. And my first business I ever started was a multimedia company, right? That was like my introduction to business, right? So many things I've done, and I've been to extreme lows and maybe extreme highs. I think my last company was a very good extreme high because, we got work done and we got contracts and we got a lot of people vouching for what we did. Okay, so that is my experience. So without further ado, I'm going to get into how you start your first company from inception to what are some of the things that are necessary to make sure your company runs smoothly, and what you need to further progress your company. All right. So let's say you have an idea. You have a tech company, and you want to service people around the world. And let's just say, it's like another Uber or another DoorDash or another Uber Eats. You have this idea. You feel like you are bringing great services to people. Number one is you want to do your market research, and you want to see if there are other ideas like this in the world. Okay, so seeing if there's competitors, seeing if people have already done this and executed it very well, gives you an idea of what you're up against in the market, right? So is the market competitive? Is it oversaturated? Do people last long in this business? Is there some type of longevity? Do people get bought out immediately, right? That's what you want to figure out first before you invest any sweat equity. Sweat equity is like, just hard work without pay for a long time. Or before you get investors, you want to make sure that, hey, is this a viable idea? Now, there's nothing wrong with having an idea, but sometimes ideas can be overcrowded. Sometimes ideas can be done before, and it is no sense in reinventing the wheel. This is where differentiation comes in. Okay, so that means, yes, I have a product similar to DoorDash or Uber Eats, but does it do X, Y, and Z? Okay, so it could be, number one, differentiation could be, hey, our product, our variation of DoorDash or Uber Eats, we deliver 24 hours a day, or we deliver after hours, right? And we can hammer home this point that makes us different. We deliver when all the restaurants are closed. That means we have a back order or warehouse of preheated food, right? That could be a differentiation. Or another thing could be, I'm just thinking on the spot, another thing could be we give high discounts. Okay, so instead of paying full price with DoorDash or Uber Eats, we split the cost in half, and that is on the company, right? So you want to have some type of differentiation to say, hey, we're different. We have the same idea. We're different. We care about our customers a bit more. We go the extra mile, etc. All right. So that's going to make you different. That's going to make you stand out, because it is a world full of people who do the same thing, and you have to be sometimes creative, right? How are you going to get ahead if you do not stand out, if you are doing the same thing, right? And this applies to anything. If you are working and you want a job, how are you going to stand out? Well, you stand out by hosting community events, right? And then you can put that on your resume, and you can show people videos, etc. It gives them a true understanding of who you are and who your personality is. So that is something to think about. Okay. So now we have our company and we have the differentiation and what makes us unique. Now it is getting that company, before you even register for your LLC or your incorporation or anything like that. Now it is testing the market. Okay. Now you have a focus group. You get a focus group about, let's just say 50 to 100. And you say, this is our product. You send out a survey, or, you talk to your friends, family, university group, fraternities, sororities. You test the product, right? This happens all the time. You test the product to see if people like it. Okay. So, I'm not promoting drugs, but if you're going to buy some flowers, some tree, right? You get a test sometimes, right? I mean, maybe back in the day, not now, but you get a test of, or a sample of said product. Okay. And once you like it, or once you critique it, you go back to the drawing board and say, all right, I need to make improvements here. I need to make improvements there. Whatever you need to make sure that your product is tip top in shape. You take people's feedback, you apply it, you take it to your business partner, or you take it to maybe the firm that you're working with before this idea hits market. Now, once your idea is floating around and let's say 50% or 75% of people enjoy what you have to offer, then it's time to actually file that LLC or, that incorporation. Right. If you feel like it's a strong product, if you feel like, this is viable to dish out to the masses, that's what you will then do. So you can go through LegalZoom, Swift Filings, Rocket Lawyer, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not promoting these companies or anything, but you have different means, right? And I would say you want to get a PO box. I wouldn't use your house as an address or anything like that. I would just say use a PO box, so all that your mail and maybe inquiries can go to that PO box. PO boxes are a little expensive, but there are companies that can host your mail as well, but you want to have that so you have a good point of contact, because maybe companies want to collaborate with you and they want to send you promotional boxes, or maybe an attorney or a CPA needs to mail documents to you. Everything's digital these days, but you never know, right? So that's what you want to do. Now, if you feel like your product is strong, you filed your LLC, you're ready to start working, and this is assuming that you have your technology stack built out and all that good stuff. I say before you bring that product to market, before you do anything, number one is you want to state your financial assumptions of what you'll do in half a year, right? Some people say, hey, I want to do my financial assumptions for 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, even 5 years. That's cool, but you're just making an assumption off of something you feel like may sell, or people may buy, may purchase, right? So here's the thing about businesses, like, yeah, you're all hyped up. You think that, oh, this is an easy product to sell. I probably can sell to 100 people if I can market this on the internet. But one thing I will tell you is human beings in general have very sporadic buying habits or spending habits, okay? So your product could be perfect for someone, right? And this is where you kind of map out that customer journey. Your product could be perfect for someone and could match all of their lifestyle habits. You could be selling some type of, vitamin water variant, like some type of healthy nutritional water. And you could say, hey, parabens free, doesn't have any dye, doesn't have any sugar in there or whatever. And they could like it, they could love it. But let's say at the time, you don't know, they lost their job and that disposable income, it's not there anymore. So they can't buy your product. They would love to buy it, but they can't buy your product. And then they say, hey, you know what? I'm going to table this, and then they never get back to it, right? Because they forget about it, right? Maybe it's not, your product isn't being advertised as much as you would like. They're going to forget about it. They're going to find an alternative, or they're just going to go back to drinking water, which is quite, inexpensive in most countries. I wouldn't say all countries, but, it's really hard to capture a customer, right? Spending habits change all the time. What people value always changes. So you have to understand that, okay? Before you push your product to the market, you have to do research. You consistently have to do research on customers, on who your buyer is and where they are in a particular stage of their life, okay? You could have a customer that is health conscious, that is 60 years old or 75 years old, and you're thinking to yourself, hey, this is my perfect customer. They want to buy this, but you also have to think about, they have more days behind them and in front of them. Do you throw all your marketing dollars at them, or do you throw all your marketing dollars at someone who's, in their early 20s that loves your product and they have a bit more days ahead of them? You have to think about these things, right? And it's a constant balancing act, all right? What is the sweet spot for a customer? Is it 25 years old? Is it 75? Or is it 35? And do we want to put all of our effort into those 35 years old, people who are 35 years old, and go from there? So that is something to really think about. Okay, so we have, we understand our buyers, who they are, the demographic. From there on, a good thing to do, a lot of people don't think about this. A really good thing to do is, if you feel like you can run a business, you feel like you know all the processes, you feel like you know how it should be ran day to day, the best thing you can do is build your team early. Okay? And what I mean by that is, most businesses or most companies, organizations, let's say organizations have a board. The board oversees major decisions. It invests into the company. You know, it is like the advisory board, right? It is steering the company into the desired direction. Building your board brick by brick, person by person, is very important. Having that one person that could say, hey, you know, I have experience with building companies like yours, building companies that deliver food to people, or building companies that supply, you know, natural spring water to people. You want to build that board because trust is the most important thing for businesses to succeed. Okay, so you have a board, and the board gives you really great advice to run the company. But also, the board also wants to know about deliverables. Hey, is my investment safe? I invested $1 million into this company. How's the CEO doing? Okay, CEO reports to the board, and managers, etc., report to the CEO, and then workers and other managers report to their managers, etc. Right? That's how the hierarchy goes. But if in fact you own the business, right, you want to make sure that board is people who have experience and people that you can trust, right? So relationship building is a key factor in a successful business. Making sure that the people that you put in place, they have your best interests, they're good at what they do, and they can get the job done, whether that is putting pressure on the CEO or the VP of sales, etc., to make sure the business runs properly. All right. So businesses, right, they're called organizations for a reason, right? We have a mission, right? What is our mission? Our mission is to supply the best spring water, or to deliver the best fresh food at a discount to 1 million people. And then the mission changes, or the mission evolves, etc. That is, when we think about organizations, that is the crux of it. Okay, so I believe these are some good steps for you. Take these steps, and what I want you to do is I want you to replay this 2 or 3 times. I'm not view farming or anything like that, but I want you to understand. I want you to take this information. I didn't have this information when I started 10 and a half years ago. I had to learn this by trial and error, and I've had some nasty bruises. I've had big debts and all that stuff. I've made a lot of money and whatnot. It's truly been a roller coaster, but I want you to think first before you act. Okay. It's good to get that experience, but if you could avoid all the pitfalls I did, or at least minimize them, that would be great. And that would make me feel really good. So this is part 1 to starting your own tech company, or, the genesis of starting your own business. So please make sure to subscribe to this channel if you feel like I deserve it. And also look at the other videos on the channel. They talk about how to get into cybersecurity, how to jump on cloud security. I have little shorts as well. The shorts will tell you different, information or ideas about cybersecurity and tech. That is my background. That is what I specialize in. All right. So thank you so much. Stay tuned for part 2.